Okay, so I think that was pretty janky, but I think it worked. I do, because it looks like y'all saw the intro and then the gameplay, which is really all I was trying to do here. So I hope it worked alright. I will be awfully disappointed if it didn't. I think you saw the intro longer than intended, so sorry about that. But I think the important part is that it worked, and that theoretically I will get better / faster at this as I go. Because it's all about practice and killing Ogress warriors, you know? Yeah. I think I'm figuring it out, is all I'm saying. Which was, the point of this, third test stream? Because I don't know what I'm doing. Just looking at the internet and trying to be, I don't know, around, doing stuff I want to do, stuff I like doing, hopefully stuff y'all like. So I think that was pretty... Again, maybe not old school RuneScape, but, eventually something. I do, because it looks like y'all saw the intro and then the gameplay, which is really all I was trying to do here. Cool. Okay, so that looks like it's working. OBS looks like it's working. Again, I will look back at this VOD and kind of see how we're doing on this audio quality situation we've got going on. And I will continue to try my best on that. Yeah, so the first time when you guys didn't actually get any of my audio, I was just using my, cam mic. Because that's what I use in, meetings and stuff, but, it's probably not the best quality, and also it means that I need to be entirely alone in order to do that, otherwise it disturbs other people, because I need to talk a little louder in order to get to that mic and have it sound nice and blah, 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 blah. And as any of you who live with someone will know, that can be pretty annoying. You may be able to hear the dogs barking in the background. Sadly, they are not my dogs. I would love to have dogs. They are neighborhood dogs. They seem to be enjoying themselves, I guess. But yeah, and so the second time I tried my, Bluetooth earbud mic, and that went better, and we actually got some sound there, so, onwards and upwards. And then today I'm trying my, wired earbud mic to see if that's any better. And I don't know that it will be. My fear is that it'll be worse. But we'll find that out at some point. Now, I do have one last mic to try. I have a lapel mic. But historically, it's given me some issues in terms of the quality of the audio. I don't think it likes being on my lapel, which is upsetting considering what it's called. But trying to finagle with that a little, maybe next on the list of priorities for this. You, Archer, you gonna try and steal mine? You. That's rude. That is super rude. Oh, I'm displeased. That's so crappy. Why would you be like this? Why would you do that? You were happily going for the other one. And then you decided to be a dick. Who are you? Wellapets 108. Interesting choice of name. No judgment on the name. Judgment on your behavior, though. Jeez. Maybe that's why people don't really do much on here. I mean, there are definitely some people who will ride or die OSRS. But, like, is it just me, or does it just seem like there's a bunch of people who are dicks on here for no reason? You know, because I feel like maybe not every time I log in, but certainly every other time I log in, there's definitely some chucklehead who, like, comes in, steals an enemy, or, like, gets grumpy that they can't have both enemies, or whatever else, and then swears a lot, getting nowhere, and then threatens to report people for botting, even though they're clearly not botting. And it's just generally, like, highly unpleasant. Maybe that's why there's not a lot of OSRS content. Maybe that's why these streams, regardless of being like test streams, don't do very much in terms of viewership. Maybe it's because the threat of people being dicks is too great. Which is valid because I don't enjoy it. I mean, they must enjoy it because they keep doing it. Doesn't make any sense to me, though. I'm sorry if you heard that cracking. That was just my joints. Don't worry about it. I certainly don't. Now, what I should be doing today is I should be reading. I have many things I'm supposed to read. I have class later today. I don't think I'm going to. Well, I'm not going to read all of them. I think all of them is a little much. There's like 3 or 4 things I'm supposed to read for tonight, and one of them is 144 pages. And I double checked. The professor didn't specify that you only had to read like a certain subsection. So they want me to read 144 pages and then the other 2 articles they assigned. And it's like, I understand this is grad school. I'm like, you want me to be, I don't know, inundated with theory or whatever. But honestly, who is this serving? Like, do you think you're the only class I'm taking? Because that's not how grad school works, generally, unless it's like your thesis class. But even then, like, you're probably not reading 144 pages. And, like, I also know that scholarly research and scholarly reading or whatever is supposed to be that, like, speed reading nonsense, and you're supposed to read it 3 times, and the first time you just kind of skim it, and you read, like, the intro and the conclusion of each paragraph, and then, like, the intro paragraph entirely, and, like, the conclusion paragraph entirely, and then you kind of, like, sort through what you want to find. Like, you're supposed to read it 3 times or some nonsense. And even skimming, who has time for that? Like 144 bloody pages. I certainly don't. I have other things to do. Like pretend I'm a streamer for a hot minute, you feel? Okay, I was gonna say something bad, but I will refrain. Ha! That's right. Take that, mofo. Am I sacrificing some HP? Yes, but you know what? It's the principle of the matter. My spot. I think I was here first. So I think when I got here, if they were the same person, they were over here and fighting this one, and then they moved over here fighting this one while I was here, which is, again, rude for no reason. And then, yeah, they just decided they wanted the one that I was fighting, which is super rude and uncalled for. I don't know, am I just old? Like, is this just how the RuneScape world works now? Because, like, there's still some people who log in, and if they see you there, they either go to the bottom spot, or the east spot, or they like go to a different world, which is, you know, the courteous thing to do. But yeah, often enough, these people just try to upset the natural kind of like polite order of things. So maybe I should just go in there, Ogress. No, it was past 50% health, right? So they would have gotten a drop. Which means they would have gotten my labor for free, and then they would have attacked the one that's coming back for me whenever it appears. And they would have been laughing at my stupidity, which is not what I look for. Anyway, happily February 1st. February is a great month. It's the shortest month. Yeah, I'm sure y'all knew that. Let's see, there's supposed to be a groundhog doing things, what, tomorrow? It's pretty fake though, so, you know, do with that info what you will should you decide to learn about it. Let's see, if people's rents are due, if you have to pay rent, you should probably do that. Let's see. If you're in Canada, if you're in BC, I believe BC Cancer is doing dry Feb. So you can raise money by not drinking in February, which is kind of cool. Of course, that's not what everyone would like to do with their February, but if that's what you want to do with your February, more power to you. What we got? We got 14 in a couple weeks, Valentine's Day. I mean, you don't need to do something romantic with anyone or with yourself, frankly. You can just like chill. It can just be another day. The real clutch thing is you get all the good chocolate at like drastic price discounts the next day, which is my probably favorite thing about Valentine's Day. I don't eat a lot of chocolate, but like, you know, when you can get those Reese cups, which, you know, is candy, it's not really chocolate if we want to get into specifics, or like them goods, Lindt truffles or whatever for a steep discount, that's pretty alright. I will say we do have Lindt stores here in Vancouver, and sometimes they have some good truffle sales. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to tell you when, because I don't want them to stop, and or I don't want it to be crowded and stuff when I go, / I don't want them to be out of all the good ones by the time I get there, which I understand is selfish, and I guess it's kind of teasing to kind of tell you about it, but not really tell you about it, but it means that if you were to take this research upon yourself and try and figure out what it is I'm talking about, and get some for yourself if you happen to be in town or near a Lindt store somewhere near you, I suppose, then you'll be rewarded for like the 5 minutes of research it will take you. And if you can't be bothered, then I'm not handing it to you on a silver platter, you know? Maybe one day, if I have minions I can send to the store for me, I'll be more explicit about things. More specific. Give you all the hot deets. But that day is not today. Honestly, that day probably doesn't exist, and that's fine. It means I get to keep my Lindt secrets to myself. Wow, 15 minutes. You know, I can see how streaming goes by real fast. Like, I can see how people like Valkyrie and Toast and people stream for like hours. But also, like, I don't really talk much in my day-to-day life. Like, I'm a text person. I prefer to text when I can. And I realized that the first minute of this stream was me trying to figure out how OBS works in terms of changing, like, what you guys see on the screen and what you folks see. I had to change it from an intro kind of mini clip video thing to a live stream of the game. And like I said, I think I figured it out, kind of, so I think it should get better, hopefully. But we'll see about that. Let's see. My partner and I went to bulk buying the other day. I don't know if y'all have bulk buying where you are. It's not for everyone. I'm gonna say that right off the bat. So you know, like the bulk section in the grocery stores, if you go to like the big ones, and there's just like all this like crap in bins, and you can fill up a bag with however much you want and take it home, blah blah blah. So it's like a big, well, I guess it's not that big. It's a store that's basically just that department and like grande sized. For all my Kim Possible fans out there. But like, the thing I like about bulk buying is that I can bring in my own containers as long as they're clean and like have historically been meant to have food in them. I can take in like my jar collection, which is not an actual collection. I just happen to have a lot of jars, like mason jars and stuff, because I think they're really useful. And they're a really good way, I think, of storing foodstuffs. And so I can take in my box of all of my empty jars, my beautiful jars, and I can go and they'll weigh them, and then I can go fill them up with all the stuff and not have to bring home like 40 plastic bags worth of food. Which is, you know, in the grand scheme of things like corporate waste, it's admittedly not that much. I get that. But it's something. And just for me personally, it's like, if I can, then that's something that I'm into doing, you know? I certainly can't do it everywhere. And I mean, even though we brought like probably 20 jars with us and filled most of them, we still got some things in plastic bags because it made more sense for us to do that, to what we wanted to do, and because of the sizes of jars that we had. But I think little bits help. And at least for like us, I recycle soft plastic, so we'll reuse the bags for other things. Like the last thing we do with like Ziploc bags or plastic bags like that, or the produce plastic bags that sometimes you can't avoid getting, is we'll store meat for the freezer in them. Because, yeah, my partner isn't super convinced that getting like reusable silicone bags or whatever will be easy enough to clean deeply enough to be able to put like meat in them. And that's kind of what we would do with those, because that's one of the big things we go through like a bunch of saran or whatever is when we do a big freezer restock, when I get a bunch of different meats that I sometimes butcher a little more depending on what they are, and kind of wrap up for us to eat for the next couple months, you know? And because it's meat and it's got like meat blood and stuff on it later, it's kind of gross to clean and wash those and then try to reuse them, so we don't. But if you've already used a plastic bag like 6 times for veggies or other snacks or whatever, and then use it for meat, then I feel personally a little better about throwing it out. And by throwing it out, I mean recycling it. A lot of places, at least in Canada, do have soft plastic recycling if you know where to look. So you can contact your municipality or your district or whatever kind of local residential or not area you might be in and see what the programs are like. If you're in BC, I think there's a Recyclepedia or BC Recycles or whatever, which will tell you how to recycle a bunch of random stuff. I think London Drugs takes back a fair amount of stuff. I think they do some soft plastic and some styrofoam and stuff. They may also do pens and toothbrushes. At least I recall vaguely that being a thing a few years ago, perhaps. But yeah. Anyway. Long, random ramble about recycling in our household. I'm sure that was thrilling. Yeah. You're gonna try and steal my ogress again, aren't you? Yes, you are, you bastard. You're a bot, aren't you? You haven't said one word, but you also haven't, upon stealing the ogress, said lol or LMAO, which a lot of people do if they're actually there, you know. They feel a sort of pride in stealing it, which, as I said, rude. But you're not doing any of those things. Don't lead me to believe that I don't think you're there. I feel like you're a bot. I don't care enough to actually investigate or say anything. So that's what I feel in my heart. Oh, went port route. Let's see, they're doing silver or steel arrows. Interesting choice. I wonder if that's a purposeful choice or if they just had them. Oh yeah, I took you guys to the bank, right? Yeah, I took y'all to the bank. But I didn't actually open my bank, so you don't know that I have, like, a ton of arrows. And I guess, like, by a ton, I don't actually mean a ton. I have a couple, well, a few thousand of each kind of arrow, I think. Except maybe, but most of those, like, the mithril, the adamant, the steel ones, I don't think I've ever bought any. And like I said, I'm a free-to-play player, so I've certainly never made any, but I've gotten all of those just from doing this. Just from killing stuff. That's fairly worthwhile. I have bought, like, tons of iron arrows, though. That's just how the cookie crumbles, you know? Oh, the dogs are back to barking. Okay, well, happy afternoon. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day, and however long it is until I'm back here trying to figure out how this stuff works. Yeah. I think last time I streamed for just over 20 minutes, so we went a little longer than that. And I tried out a funky new thing. So I think that's overall a success in terms of my time. You guys got to see me kill some stuff slowly using very weak magic, so if that's your gig, then hopefully you're satisfied too. You got to hear me ramble about recycling. All very great things for you, I'm sure. But I think I'm going to finish my latte. Because I made it a couple hours ago and it's definitely cold, so maybe I'll microwave it. And then I'm gonna. You are so rude. I'm gonna read some papers for that class I have tonight because time is ticking. But I don't have to worry about cooking tonight, which is nice. I have some pork shoulder in the slow cooker. So by the time I open that sucker up in about 4.5 hours, it should be nice and soft pulled pork. We don't have a ton of corn tortillas left, and I don't really have time to make any today. So I might just put it on rice or make like a lettuce wrap kind of stitch. If you guys have had like pork bulgogi, you can have that with rice and like put it in a lettuce leaf and kind of make a cool little wrap that way with like some kimchi or other accoutrement. That's pretty good. It might be something similar. Green onions have gotten expensive though. It was like $1.69 for one bunch, which is atrocious. So I bought a bunch, but we're gonna regrow them probably. Because if you get your green onions with the roots attached, if you leave about an inch on them, like when you're chopping them up and cooking with them, if you leave about an inch on them and kind of put those in water, they'll like continue to grow, like they'll regrow for you, which is pretty lit. A way to stick it to the capitalist man and whatever. And you can do that with a few things, right? Like I think you can do it with celery, I think you can do it with lettuce, as long as like the stems / roots are attached. You can put it in water and regrow it. And that's pretty lit. It's still cold. It is, of course, only the 1st of February, so we haven't started planning for our food garden yet. We have a little garden box that our landlords let us use since their kids don't use the sandbox anymore. So last year we did some carrots and we did some beets. I think we tried to do parsnips, but I don't think we got any, which was sad. We think we did our bok choy too early, so we didn't get very much. But we did get some, and that was cool, so we might try that again and hope to get a little more. We grew cauliflower, which was pretty cool and pretty tasty. The leaves also were kind of kale-like in terms of like you can make chips out of them, or just kind of chop them up finely and toss them in a stir fryer or whatever else, just to add a little more vegetable to your diet. We did some cilantro because I like that. We did some arugula. Yeah, we did a bunch of stuff that gives us greens. Because I don't know about y'all, but salad is expensive. Like going to the store and buying a head of lettuce for $2 or $3 is just ridiculous. Because like, don't get me wrong, it's worth that. Like farmers need to eat and have the ability to participate in society as well, right? Like they do a lot of hard work making sure that all of us can find food and be fed. But it just seems like a lot when I can buy lettuce seeds for like, or other like mixed green seeds for like a couple dollars, or find a local seed library and get them for free. Like, you know, yeah, we've done radishes and stuff before, and the radishes actually went crazy one year. We got so many, which was pretty cool. But you can't really eat the radish greens, at least they're not great once like the radish is actually mature enough to eat the radish itself. I think if you catch the radish greens early enough, then you can eat them pretty easily, or you can make them into pesto or something. I'm not the hugest fan of pesto, and that's because when I was a young undergrad student, I could get 2 jars of pesto for $2, and I could get 2 packages of gnocchi at like the supermarket for $2, and so I could have dinner / meals for like 4 meals for like $4, which is $1 a meal, which is pretty good, and then add some vegetables, and it's not bad, you know what I'm saying? But it does mean that like for a week all I really ate aside from vegetables was pesto pasta, and so I got pretty sick of it. It started to become real unpleasant. And even though it's been several years now since that time still haunts me. Okay, I think I've blathered on enough. I meant to end this stream like 6 minutes ago, but I didn't. I started talking about other things. Anyway, there. That ogress has died. We have done some good work here today, fam. So, have a lovely, lovely rest of your day, and whatever else you choose to do, I hope you are successful, and I will see y'all